Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below, letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Rambo Jr., who says the Valkyrie from Siege, as in Rainbow Six Siege, loadout will be running the recon kit with a Spas-12 shotgun, a laser sight, holographic sight, and the Deagle 44 also with a laser sight. Use the motion sensor throwable as Gadget 1 and use C4 to mimic nitro cells as Gadget 2. Use this on rush and try to maximize efficiency. Hope you pick my loadout and have fun if you do. Now for any of you guys who are fans of Rainbow Six Siege as well, you'll know that Valkyrie has the option to either run with the MPX or the Spas-12 pump action shotgun. Technically the Spas-12 actually has a semi-automatic version and a pump action version. It's kind of cool. I don't know if there's any other shotguns that have that same sort of select fire feature. Unfortunately, it's not really represented in Battlefield. What would actually happen if you changed it from pump action to semi-auto is that you should be able to shoot the weapon a bit faster in semi-auto, as you don't have to pump the shotgun each time. They could adjust the weapon damage or whatever they do to semi-auto shotguns in this game to try and balance it accordingly when selecting different fire modes, but it might have been a little bit too complicated for them to figure out. Now, as requested, I did try this loadout exclusively on the rush game mode. It's fun for both offense and defense. The massive damage that this weapon can do in close quarters is a lot of fun. It's got 18 pellets per shot with buckshot or flechette. Obviously, I was using buckshot here. And it's a great weapon for those single shot kills. Granted, not every shot you're going to take is going to be a single shot kills, and even some of the ones that you think should be single shot kills are not single shot kills. And the random spray pattern of shotguns can easily be demonstrated in the shooting range. I'll show you right here. As you can see, I'm shooting at a target, and the amount of times it takes to shoot down a target at different ranges with the same accuracy changes because the spread on the shotgun changes from shot to shot. This test works for both hipfire and aiming down sight accuracy. 2 shots for that target, only 1 shot for this target, and my aim was exactly the same both times. Test it again while aiming down sights. You'll see here that I take 1 shot for my first target and 2 shots for the second targets. And again, this occurs because the spray pattern is random from shot to shot, and you cannot predict which side of your aim is going to be more favored, or if it's going to favor direct center on your aim, which means that some of your shots that look like they're off a bit could actually get you 1-shot kills, and other shots that look like they're perfectly aimed could not get you 1-shot kills, which is just sort of the weird random aspect of pump action shotguns or any shotgun in Battlefield, and I've never been a huge fan of it. Now, despite people complaining about this, it is a very realistic mechanic of the shotgun. Real life shotgun sprays do have a random aspect to them, and the further away you get from the shot, the more random those spray patterns will become. The question we as gamers and game developers need to ask ourselves is random number generation appropriate for our games? Some games like Hearthstone really thrive on it because it has this sort of crazy chaotic element to it. But likewise, if you check out the spray pattern on shotguns in Overwatch, another Blizzard game, the spray patterns are identical every time so that you can predict and adapt to them and know exactly how it's going to react based on your aim. So it's very interesting to see the same developer use 2 entirely different mechanics in game, and Battlefield seems to have a little bit more randomness to it than most other shooters out there. Personally, I'd love to see the spray patterns on shotguns standardized so that we know what to expect with each one. And the result will be that firefights reward player skill rather than random chance. Anyway, random or not random, that Spas-12 shoots those 18 pellets that can do 11.2 damage maximum, so you easily have the ability to one-shot targets in close range. And obviously this damage drops off significantly over range, as does the spread of your shotgun increase over range, so the weapon just becomes far less effective the further and further away you get from your target. But you can stave this off a bit by using different muzzle brakes like the full choke on the shotgun, which should give you a tighter spread, increasing your ranged effectiveness. It just doesn't give you as much leeway when it comes to your accuracy in close range. If you're not shooting dead center every time, you could miss every single one of your pellets. Now the laser sight does give us a little bit less sway inaccuracies when shooting from the hip. Not a bad attachment to have on a shotgun. I was actually running smoke grenades with this loadout as it wasn't really specified. It's a great way to get closer to your targets. You just have to remember to turn off that laser sight when you're about to run through some smoke, unless you want to get lit up. And generally speaking, when I run with a shotgun, I don't really put a red dot sight on here, but I wasn't minding the EOTech. Aesthetically, it's not the coolest look for a pump action shotgun, but it does help with your accuracy when ADSing, though I really wasn't ADSing too much. And I really don't know what it is about certain Battlefield servers, but I often feel like I am one man against the rest of the enemy team. I often find myself fighting on my own while the rest of my team is either getting killed or just cowering in a corner somewhere. Once you understand the basic mechanics of Rush, there should be a good percentage of the defending team that's actually actively going out there and being aggressive, trying to bleed down the enemy team's tickets. If you all just kind of camp and hide by your MCOMs the whole game, you're basically allowing the enemy team to get very close before they actually end up losing any tickets. You want to put the pressure on way before they get up to your MCOMs. That is the best strategy. Granted, playing on Siege of Shanghai can get a bit dicey as there is so little cover in certain areas of this map. The only disadvantage of dying on a defensive team is that you yourself are not there to actually defend the objective. So as long as you've got enough teammates back on the MCOM itself, then go out, be aggressive, die, lose your ticket because you don't actually have one to lose on defense, and kill as many enemy as possible, bleeding down their tickets and stopping their offensive pushes. Being an aggressive defender also gives you the opportunity to hunt down and locate those spawn beacons, which is essential to stopping the enemy push. If they can get those spawn beacons in very close to the MCOMs and don't have to travel a long distance, they can put the pressure on and keep it on the entire time. And finally, we've really managed to bleed out most of the enemy team's tickets. They've got 36 left and they're starting to panic a bit. You're going to see some kind of crazy pushes at the end, getting overly aggressive, constantly keeping your eyes on that minimap. I'm able to figure out which directions we're most vulnerable at. I can see that we have a lot of teammates around the MCOM, so it's not going to help if we've got one more gun watching the MCOM. I instead turn my fire to this angle that we're more exposed at, and I'm able to stop quite a few more enemy. One last hurrah with the Amtrak here at the end is going to give them one final chance to try and arm that MCOM, but they get a mobility hit early on with some C4, and by the time they're close enough, it's too late. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up for this episode of Loadout. It's an absolutely excellent setup. I would recommend running with a modified choke or a full choke if you've got the accuracy to back it up. Don't forget to leave your comments for next week's episode of Loadout. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.